Welcome to the Reverend Filo show. So I put together this little. It's hard for me to say, but it really is, a farewell to our my best friend. I feel. Chris, the Rev, is no longer with us, at least physically. But his spirit lives on through this show. And so I put something together for everybody who was a part of the show or just influenced it in any way. So I'm going to let you guys hear from them.
Chris, to me, was my older brother.
Chris's girlfriend. And yeah. I mean, yeah.
Child, how far do you guys go back?
16 years. I've known Chris since I was 15. Yeah. I actually noticed him because a friend of mine, well, my best friend at the time, pointed him out because she knew that I had a thing for musicians. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, look at that guy. He's always sitting there playing the guitar. And he's always sitting, like, by the band room. And, like, I started noticing him, and I was like, all right, he's not that bad. And then we actually had science class together. And then that's when I actually kind of talked to him. And he asked me out.
Nice. So he asked you out way back then, huh?
Yeah.
How long did you guys go out for?
Just one day.
One day? It didn't work out.
He took me to McDonald's.
Nice.
Yeah. We had chicken nuggets, and then we were just sitting there talking. I don't know. We just didn't connect that way, even though I had a crush on him.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, man, he talks a lot, you know?
You're like, damn, I don't know what I'm going to get into.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm getting into.
But, yeah. No, and then he told me, he was like, I thought you had a crush on me, but then you got a boyfriend right after. Maybe that's why it didn't work out, because I got into a relationship.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rev is a friend that I met at the music center, somewhere where we worked, and I've known him for about 8 years.
I guess we'd be friends. I mean, I met him through you and through work. I remember when I first met him, I was like, who is this guy? Because he wouldn't stop talking. And he was always talking about, like, basically old stuff and, like, old music. I guess the relationship changed throughout the year. I know him for a year. Yeah. He ended up becoming, I guess, a family friend, you could say.
Well, me and Rev, our relation was pretty good when I want to say. We clicked right off the bat when we first met. He was a musician. He loved music. I myself am a musician. I play guitar, and that's how we ended up like forming this friendship. And yeah, dude, he was a co-worker of both of us. We worked alongside each other, and yeah, dude, what can I say? He was a great friend to all of us.
I've had a few relationships with Rev throughout the 16 years I've known him. I went from being his bandmate in high school band, where we were in orchestra together. We were both guitar players, so in high school there was kind of like an unspoken rivalry between guitarists. And not like I was like Rev's main rival, because I was not that good back then. But I can imagine Rev being like, "You're not that good now." We had our moments together, but at the end of it all, it's like throughout the last decade, especially, high school and on, we were brothers. He was my best friend. You know, uh, he was my brother. And I feel like that just grew more throughout time. Our bond, the finer points we seen each other, the way that we called each other out, the way that we, leveled with each other. It became less and less every day a thing of things between friends. Like the familyhood was there, and I'd say that's where it is now.
We had worked at the music center for well around, or if not over 7 years. And when I first met the Rev, he was pretty crude. He was a crude dude, and being honest, I didn't like him at first. Like first impressions, I'm like, dude, he's rude. He was very abrasive, and he made jokes at me, and I would make jokes back at him, but like I tried to be mean spirited about it. And I'm like, oh, dude, you're ugly, bro. Like, I would like call him ugly straight up. And I think he called me fat. I'm like, oh, fuck. He's just telling it like it is. and so I'm like, man. Yeah, one time I made I forget what the remark was, but I told him he could smell insults. Like, I ripped him, and I don't know. And he looked down a little like I stung him, and so like I felt real bad. I'm like, well, damn, but like he bounced back. He's like, yeah, I know, and very defensive, not defensive, but very acknowledgement. Like he knew, and I'm like, dude, this guy, like he humbled me, and yeah, and after that I was like, well, fuck, maybe this guy's not that bad. And then I found out he was friends with Orland, and he's chill with Mike. I'm like, dude, those guys are outstanding. And I'm like, dude, this Rev guy, his character, this is like first year. I'm like, more and more got to know him, and like, he'd come to parties, and yeah, it was like super chill, life of the party, make people smile and shit like that. And yeah, that's how I know Rev. Good friend now.
Started off as a friendship. Ended up being my best friend. I would say like a brother to me, pretty much. I remember when I first met him at work music center. He got my band a show right away, and like we opened up right before them, and that was a damn good night. My relationship to him started off, yeah, just like any other friendship. Like we got along, but I want to say he ended up my brother, my best friend, a guy that really understood me, that understood my jokes, and vice versa.
My relation to Rev was, we started out as work colleagues, and then later on it developed a kind of like a friendship that led to this kind of brotherhood that, like we are all part of here.
So what was your favorite moment, story, any experience you had with Rev?
Oh man, that's hard. I mean, obviously we grew up together. My favorite memory of my brother, I mean, there's a lot, and I've actually been thinking about this a lot because I want to like start a journal of like, because things will just come up, oh yeah, I remember when this happened when I was super young or whatever, and I want to, I don't want to forget those things. But then it's like, damn, I feel, sometimes I'm like, I don't remember anything. Like, what did we do when I grew up, because we weren't like close in our teen years, but we got pretty close when we were older. He's 4 years older than me. But I guess my favorite, I guess I'll tell this story because I've told it a few times now, but I think it is one of my favorites because it was like the first time we partied together as like adults. we went to New Orleans with my family. I was not 21 yet, so I must have been like 20 because I was using a fake ID. We went to New Orleans to the Jazz Fest. I think this was the first time we went because we went twice. I have family in Texas that love to go over to Louisiana to this Jazz Fest, so we went twice. Yeah, this was the first time. And I think it was like after like a day at the Jazz Fest, my parents had their own room, and me and my brothers, so I have a little brother too, were in our own room. And I think it was like the end of the day or whatever. Chris must have been, if I was 20, Chris was 23 or 24. And we were in the hotel room. It was like the end of the day, and we're just like chilling. And my mom comes into the room, and she's like saying goodnight to us or whatever. And then she just like throws something at me, and it lands on my bed, and then she leaves. And I look, and it's a joint. It's like a pre-rolled joint. And me and my brother just like look at each other. And Chris is like, it's a trap. It's like, what do we do? Do we smoke it? I don't know. Like, I guess. And I mean, we smoked it, obviously. I don't think we smoked it in the hotel room. I think me and my brother were like, let's go to Bourbon Street. Like, it was maybe like 9 or 10. And we're like, let's just call an Uber or get a taxi or whatever and go to Bourbon Street. And so we do. And Nick was too young. Nick was like 16, 17. And this was like the first time we like got drunk together, and like partied together. And I don't know if you've ever been to Bourbon Street, but you know, it's like Vegas miniaturely. You know, just a street, everyone's partying. There's hella like just bars playing music, different kinds of music. You go like hip hop, then the next bar is like country, and the next is like hard rock. So this is like Chris's shit, right? Like, he just loves all this stuff. And if you know Chris, like, he just loves like blues and music, obviously. So we're just going down, and I have some pictures from it too, but we're just walking down Bourbon Street, drinking, you know, partying, going from bar to bar. And you know, Chris is just like in his element. He loves all this kind of stuff. And so we're walking down, whatever, and getting kind of drunk and tipsy. And there's also strip clubs in New Orleans. And we stopped by a strip club, and Chris is like, let's go inside the strip club. And I'm like, no, like, I don't want to go inside this fucking strip club with you. And he's like, come on, let's just go, just like 5 minutes. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not trying to go in this fucking strip club with you. For some fucking weird reason, he convinces me to go inside this strip club. And we go inside, you know, it's like green lights and strippers. I think this might have been the first time I went into a strip club. Yeah. And underage, by the way, 19, 20 years old. And, but they don't really be checking IDs. I had the fake ID, but like nobody really cared. And so we go into the strip club, whatever, and I'm just like, okay. And I think he gets like, you know, a stripper comes up to him and it's like, whatever. And he's like, let me go get this lap dance right quick. And I'm like, are you really going to leave me here in this fucking strip club? He's like, come on. And I'm like, okay, fuck, go get your fucking lap dance then. So he goes. And I'm just like sitting there, like watching these strippers, just like, and then people are looking at me like, okay, because everybody else is like middle aged and like male. And I'm just like twiddling my thumbs watching these strippers. He was probably gone for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, whatever. And he comes back and we leave. And I'm like, did you have fun? He's like, yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I was like, okay, glad you had a good time. And that was it, really. We just walked throughout Bourbon Street and got super drunk. I have a video of me like in the Uber home, just like super drunk, like just super, super drunk. And And yeah, that was like the first time we partied together. It was like a bonding moment. I think it's a funny story too, cause that fool really made me go inside the strip club with him. Like,
I don't know. That's hard. It's hard because it's like every time you're with Chris, there's like a million things going on, and it's all really fun. I think, okay. Well, I think one of the best memories I've had where I've seen him just like so genuinely happy was when we went out to dinner. Like me, you, him, and Ash. And then like because afterwards you guys just left, and then we went upstairs to his, and then he was telling me just how, like, just how good it felt for him, you know, because he always said that like you and Ash has done so much for him, and then he was like it felt really good for him to be able to do something, you know, like give something back to you guys. And then he was just like genuinely happy. I wish you guys could have seen the look on his face, you know? And then like, yeah, he was just like, I don't know. I don't know.
My favorite moment with Rev would have to be well, there's a lot, but one that stood out to me would be from New Year's Eve when we all spent New Year's Eve together, and when we were we were in the front listening to the countdown, and I remember too he was the only one that saw that the countdown was happening, and he called us over, and we all looked out at the countdown, and it hit New Year's, and I remember he was the first one that I hugged and said Happy New Year's to, and at the time that was just a moment for me. I just started crying, and I just told him thank you for everything that you've done for me, and thank you for being there. And that was a time that stood out to me.
I want to say I have about three. One was the story that he told about him doing acid and sitting on the toilet and watching the floor move like a drop. But, you know, later on realizing it might have just been him using the restroom.
That was from the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like episode 5 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. And then the other two is, so the day Kobe died, we had went over to his house. And we couldn't find him. Everyone's like, where's Rev? And then it just went quiet for a bit. And then we see him come out of the hallway and just go for Kobe in this tight Kobe jersey that didn't fit him.
I do remember that he came out like,
yeah, he came out like, cheer like Kobe. And then I guess the last one would be when we went camping. He was cooking salsa.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Wait, we asked him to open the beans.
Yeah,
right?
we asked him to cook the beans. I remember this because Mikey was cooking, I think, the meat.
Yeah.
And I was watching Mikey, and then we heard the sizzle, and I seen Mikey look up, and then I looked up, and we all just looked at Rev, and he's just there staring at the salsa.
Well, there's a bunch of them, dude, but one that sticks out is the one where when we went camping, and we were down at the lake, and we had rented a car to go to, what was it, Kings Canyon? Yeah. And so there was this like river that was nearby, so we had to drive over there because it wasn't at our campsite. It was like a mile or two, and then so we were one of the last ones to get over there. When we got there, everybody was there already. So we couldn't find a parking spot, so we parked behind one of our friends' car. So we get there, we start drinking and all that stuff, and we were there for like a good we were there for like a good maybe 3 hours. I wanted 3-4 hours, and then the sun started setting. We were like, oh shit, we might as well start heading back. And everybody was in the river. I was chilling. I didn't get in the river. I was chilling to the sides with Ash, and there was a couple people on the sides. And then Domingo, he's all like, hey, you know what, bro? Like, I think I'm gonna start heading back, but the car, your guys' car is behind me, and I can't get out. Can you guys get the keys? And I was like, yeah, sure. And since Rev was the one that was driving, I was like, yo, Rev, and he was in the river. He's like, yo, Rev, where's the Domingo needs to get out, and the car's blocking his way, and then he's like, where's the keys at? And he's all like, I remember. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, dude. And then he was already drunk, but by this time he was already hammered. And then he's like, dude, like and I told him, cause I'm trying to like look for the keys and I can't find them. Like, do you have him? I sure hope you didn't jump into the lake with him, to the river with him. And he's like, fuck, dude. And then that's when he started freaking out. He's like, dude, like I can't. He tried to retrace the steps, and then he's like, dude, I can't find him, dude. That's when it really started to hit him. And then I remember he was saying, dude, like, because we couldn't find him. We were looking, like, I even jumped into a river when I noticed that, fuck, like, me, there's no other option than to look, like, in the water. And then he just sort of gave up, and he's all like, and he started kind of like contemplating, like, I remember he was telling us that, fuck, like, I'm such a bad friend, like I'm gonna leave us stranded here. And then it wasn't like we could have called like AAA or anything, cause like yeah, we weren't getting any reception. And then I was thinking, like, dude, like, this is it, like we're stuck here for who knows how long, you know. So we were looking in the river. We were like, fuck, we all lost hope at this point. And then Ashley, she goes back and she double checks like everything, like the chairs and everything. So it turned out that the keys were in one of the cup holders on the chair. Like it was like under, like or something like that. Yeah. And then we all went back to like doing our own thing. And yeah. But yeah, dude, that's at the time it was like, fuck, like shit, like we're gonna get stuck here, like there's no reception, like we're far from the camp, like that's it. But now looking back at it, we could laugh at it, and it's one of the stories that's always gonna stick with me, you know.
My favorite rest story. That's tough, man. There's a lot of memories. There's a lot of memories. You know what? I actually told this one recently too, but I gotta say it's definitely on the top. So many people know from back in the day. Even a lot of people at the music center and everything know. Me and Rev used to be in a hip hop group called the Faux Show Kids, and we were just starting to do shows. We would be in his room, getting beats going, and throwing flows over him, recording them. Like we thought we were the shit, man. I mean, I take that back. We were the shit, but so, we started throwing on these little shows at like house parties and shit, right? So like. We did 2 shows at the homegirl Sarah's house. We call her Scary. And we get all hyped up about it, and we're like, man, we need to branch out a little bit. And my Rev's like, well, my boy over at Llama, who was there for like recording or whatever. He was having a party, and he was actually like having like bands and like some hip hop acts play and stuff, and we go, he's like I can get us a spot on there. So we get booked, we're like, all right, we got this show, let's get to work, let's work on our set. And where they had come out with a beat, right, you know. So me and Rev were all about it. Like me and Rev were like, oh, like, ooh, this is the jam. Like, yeah, like we sat in his bed and we started, like, we instantly got to writing. Like me and him like went to work, and Mario and the homie Zoms, they were the other two, front guys right there, and they're both just kind of in their own headspace, kind of like, well, I'm not hearing it, or I don't feel anything. And the project originally started with them, and this little, track they threw on. I made a little video for it called Daily Dose. Yeah, and that's how that's where like it all like began. So it was just them two. Like if we did shows, it was them two going on that song, and me and Rev would be in the back just like hyping up with doubles and stuff, getting all gassed out. So when me and Rev got to work on this, and they were like, oh, I don't know, Mario being Mario was like, oh, we should just skip this, and me and Rev looking at each other like, oh, we're feeling it, man. And I was like, look, why don't we, we're just like, why don't we make this like mine and Rev's fucking Daily Dose. So we get to work. We're throwing, like there's some like heavy level like lyrics going on over there. Like at one point, I'm helping Rev, he's helping me, and he shows me the Shaolin Masters line, and I'm like, bro, you gotta throw in the end, just be like, just listen to the Reverend, man, and fuck all those bastards. He was like, he looked at me, he goes, bro, we're going to fucking hell. He goes, we say that, and I'm like, we're already going to hell, man. We gotta just. So we go, he's riding on, and he gets in his like little mode. He's like really serious, and towards the end, he's like, he goes, listen to this, and he turns to me, and he shows me, he goes, he shows me that whole verse, he goes, he finishes the last two lines, and like in the verse, and he's like, I walked down this road with my boys on the side of me. I asked the Lord for truth, but that motherfucker lied to me. And and like just then, like my jaw dropped, and like Mario and Zom's got up, and it was like, what? Like it was like bro, we got so hyped up, like we oh man, we got to work on it right away. Everything was going cool, and by the time the show came, that song was like we were like good to go on it. We were even working on how the double was gonna go. So the show, like we're up, and the lights kind of go dark like as we're like setting up. Like the dude had like that room and everything set up. He had the garage set up where everyone was playing, and this little garage, like this garage is like, it was a good sized garage. It was packed, bro. Like it was packed. I kind of see Rev like kind of in the black of it, kind of dragging this object, and I'm like, what the fuck's he doing? And then it's like, all right, like hey, these are my homies. This is like my homies band. This is Faux Show Kids. Blah blah. And come on, and the lights kind of go like like more in focus. And we agreed on this song that like Rev would just start it, when he would go, he would just like drop, and it'd be like, it's the motherfucking, and then the beat would just drop, and like and Worthy would play the song, and it'd go in, and everything would start rolling. So I'm wondering what the fuck's Rev's doing. I hear him dragging something. I didn't even see what he was dragging. Next thing I know, the lights go dark a little bit because he had the lights set up and everything. And then the light goes on, and you just hear Rev, it's the motherfucking, and he's standing on a keg. Like, I don't even know where the fuck he got this keg from, but he's standing on a keg, and he's just, like, right there at the top, like, it's the motherfucking, and, oh, man, dude, I remember looking at him thinking, like, dude, my boy's a fucking monster, dude. I'm like, that's fucking bees. That's showmanship right there. That's showmanship, and we killed it. That show, like, we killed it, and Rev just brought like that energy, like it gassed me up, like we were kids just trying to like figure ourselves out, and Rev, I couldn't ask for a better homie than Rev to have there with me, like for me to be there with, for all of us.
There are a lot, I gotta say, amidst the parties and camping trips, I gotta say, Sequoia was dope. Getting high with them anytime. Favorite Rev moment. This is the one I lost sleep over. Because I got a lot. I think it was most recent. We went camping just this year. And we were just vibing. And he was just quoting deleted scene from Back to the Future. And there's a scene where it's Martin McFly and Doc Brown, and it's just like Michael J. Fox. He's doing like this Mexican accent, and it's just one line of dialogue the Reverend will just like repeat, and it's from, I think he goes, hey, check her out, man. Check out this bitch, man. She's cheating, man. This bitch is cheating, man. And I'm like, dude, you've seen that deleted scene? I'm like, dude, that fucking deleted scene is great. It's goated. That is one of the funniest things and funniest moments. Literally 8 minutes straight, us just saying the words, that bitch is cheating, man. She fucking cheated. And just for like 8 minutes straight, just like goofing over just like one goddamn line. Yeah, that was pretty special. I haven't done that like most people. Any old time the man would like reference The Simpsons, and that I'd understand it, and then me referencing The Simpsons and him understanding it was like the best moments ever. Like, there are people out there like people that like know The Simpsons like he does or did, you know. And yeah, he's a brother.
You told me this question a few days ago, and it's really hard for me to choose one. Because although a lot of the times we were pretty intoxicated, it was a lot of fun times because of that. But I'll give you two. When we first met, I think it was like 3 months into us hanging out, I got us No Effects tickets. We went to a show. That was awesome. Good night. But one of my favorite memories of him involves Rick and Morty, the show Rick and Morty. I remember I had watched it on Hulu when it was streaming the first season only, and I went over to his house. This is when he lived right there by the Food for Less. Even before that, he lived closer to me because he had moved 3 times, and he lived kind of to the right of my house, passing the AutoZone. That's where he had first lived when I met him, when he was with Angie. But so anyway, we had went over his house, and we had just watched the whole season of the first Rick and Morty season. And I think there's 10 episodes. They're like 30 minutes, 20 minutes an episode, so almost like 6 hours. We were watching that whole thing, just smoking and just watching the TV show. But in between the episodes, because Hulu had commercials, in between the episodes and in between the episodes and the commercials of the episodes, there was Wendy's commercials. They were showing like the Baconators, all the chicken sandwiches, and it wasn't until the end of we were done watching, we were hungry, and we didn't know what to get, and we just looked at each other and we're like, should we get Wendy's? Like the commercials pretty much advertised, they advertised it as perfect, because we were watching the whole season. It was almost every other episode there was a Wendy's commercial. So we went from Boyle Heights all the way to the one in Alhambra just to go to Wendy's. A little drive, yeah. So I watched all of Rick and Morty, just got stoned, and we barely even talked because we were watching TV the whole time. So I want to say, just, I didn't need to talk to the guy. We just enjoyed each other's company, just watching one of our favorite TV shows. That was a pretty cherishing moment, I would say.
Man, there was so many. But if I had to choose, one of my favorite Rev stories was when we were in between shifts at the music center, and you know how we always had that like that like 5-hour gap. So one of my homies hit me up, and they said that they were at this like clothes convention that was like right in downtown, but he was like, keep it low key though, because you know this only for buyers. So, but he was like, there's an open bar, so that's why, you know, I said open bar, and we were all kicking it. I said open bar, and everybody was like, let's go, you know. So we pack up in Don's truck when he had the SUV. So then we roll over to downtown. You know, Don was the only one right there that had the car that day. So we end up going to the spot. And then when we're there, I'm telling them like, hey, you know, you guys just keep it low key. When we go in, we're just gonna walk through the lobby. Don't make eye contact with anybody. You know, just act like you own the place. Like we're supposed to be there. And you know, we walk in, and you could see like Don's like, oh, like, like yeah, you know, like hyped up because, you know, there's an open bar and shit, you know. And so then we walk through the lobby, and then we get into the elevator, and you know, like the elevator is still closing or still open, and people are getting in, like other people that are going to like business, you know, meetings, all in suits and shit. And then as soon as we step in the elevator, this fool Don turns around and he's like, "Where's the open bar?" Like he screams that shit loud as fuck, so it echoes all through the lobby. And we were just like, dude, just shut the fuck, like, you know, like keep it chill. It was just so funny, man. Like, 'cause he was like, and when we were in there, he was like a kid in a candy store, you know, like going to like all of the different closed booths and shit. And he was like, "Hey man, thanks for bringing me and shit." And that was like one of the, not the first times that we had kicked it, but like this was like a little early in our, you know, in our work friendship. But that's always been a story that resonated with me because he's always been that guy. Like he was always the kind of like the wild card, but he had a little more sense than an actual fucking, you know, just all out wild card. You know what I mean? But it was just one of those stories, man. I always remember that fool. I'm gonna miss that guy. I miss that guy.
I mean, I want to tell him a lot of things. Chris was actually texting me the night before he passed. And I could tell he was a little tipsy, you know, because he always gets real emotional and like, you know, I love you and I'm so proud of you. And we were just kind of texting back and forth, and he was telling me, because I'm an actor, that's like what I do, and actually because of Chris, and you know, I work pretty regularly, thankfully, and he was telling me, you know, I'm so proud of you, you know, I want to get on your level, meaning he wants to make money with his music. And I remember thinking, like, and I've always kind of felt this way, I really hated that, or I didn't like, never sat well with me that he didn't think he was successful because he wasn't making money yet. Because to me, in my eyes, I always thought he was just one of the most successful people I know because he was just so talented, so talented. And like, money doesn't mean success, you know, to me. I mean, money's nice and we need it. But it bothered me that that's what he was kind of like measuring his success by. And I remember thinking it in the moment, but not feeling like it was the right moment to like tell him that. So I just told him, I did tell him that kind of in a more playful way. I was like, you are successful with music. Like, cause I think he said like, I need to get back in the game or something like that. And that he was like, you know, I signed up for this program, and I guess he had been taking classes, and for whatever reason, I didn't respond. I remember reading the messages, and it was like 10 at night, and I remember reading the messages and then like getting distracted and like, oh, I'll respond later kind of thing. And in the morning, I did respond at like the morning, and I forgot what I said, but I said something like, you know, you are going to make it because you got all the talent in the world. and he didn't get to read that message. So I guess all that I just said is what I would want to tell him, that I am where I am now because of him in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of people feel that way. And that I'm incredibly proud of him. Even though his life got cut short, he did more than most people do in 80 years of life. And to me, he'll always be just one of the most successful people I've ever known. So that's what I want to tell.
I would hug him and tell him it's okay and that I miss him. And like, I just want to tell him how amazing he is, and thank him for, being really good to me, and that I love him. I love him so much.
That I love him. Thank you for being the friend that he was and the person that he was, and I'm glad that we got the opportunity to share his life and our life with him, and being there for my family and his family, and that I'll never forget him.
Was I guess I wish I could have heard more of his songs. Be that. I mean, I did like the Reno one. It's probably my favorite one. Another thing I would like to ask him is, I was watching a video about punk rock history, and they said Led Zeppelin was considered punk rock, and I wanted to see what his thoughts were on that. But I guess now I won't really get the chance to tell him or ask him.
Yeah, you weren't playing, bro. Oh shit. Well, first I tell him he's an asshole because of that last episode. He I had to tell him, actually, like, in latency of it all, like, it's probably gonna be like the thing that like like reminds you just one last joke that he had on me, like, cause that's what we did, we joked with each other a lot, like, it. I'd tell him I wish I had more time with him. I'd ask him what he wants from all of us. What we can do to, like, what he feels we could do to best leave him intact. Or even be like, hey man, like, I know we're over here like hurting and calling you left and right. Are we bugging you? Like, like, are we disturbing you, bro? Like, yeah, I'd ask him, like, I like ever since everything happened, I'm trying to do everything I can to think that would, like, make him proud enough, you know. That way, whenever it is I see him next, you know, just, you know, I want him to look at me in the eye and be like, hey, like, I know you tried to like carry me out right, you know, like get me out there right, and just, you know, ask like, hey man, like, you know, was it bad? Like, did I hold up a ride in your book? You know, like, just want you to know that I did right by him, you know. I just wanted to make sure, like, you know, want him to make sure at the end of it. He knew, and he knew, but just to say it one last time, you know, that I love my brother, you know. And you know, just to let him know, like, hey, like you're good, you know. You can rest. You have a whole family over here, you know. So aside from your main family, you have a whole family that's gonna help your family see this through, help Shirley see this through, help each other. You know, because without all of us really coming together, it really just it's made everything just a little less heavy. And I definitely want to I definitely want to ask him, you know, what he thought about the whole Ryan joke. Since you know, for those of you do not know, when Rev wasn't whipping on me, he was ripping on Ryan pretty hard. So when everything happened, you know, me and Ryan were picking up at the house, and I stopped and I looked at him. It was so serious, you know, all the way up until this moment. I looked at him and I started laughing. He looks at me like, what the fuck, what are you laughing about? I'm like, bro, if Rev could see you now, if Rev could see you cleaning now, be like, is this what it fucking took for you to clean, Ryan? You know, honestly, I think it's hard to answer that question, because if I had a moment with them, I'd want to keep every second of it again. I don't think I'd let the moment go. You know, and I'm trying to, and you know, maybe, you know, again, it goes back to me asking him, like, hey man, we're gonna keep going with you, but you know, like we're not gonna stop. But I hope you don't get mad and be like, hey, can you fucking let me rest? You know, if it came down to just a second and I had one thing to say, I'd just say, hey, I love you. I miss you. We're doing everything we can. And we're going to make everything, you know, mean something for you. And we're going to watch everywhere that you had your eyes on. Everyone and everything for you. And you're good. You can rest. You lived a hell of a life. You were the best of us. And not a day won't go by that we won't try to shine a little of your light on the rest of the world.
The first thing that comes to my mind is just I'd give him a big hug and tell him that I love him, dude. One thing that I wish I would have told him more often, you know. So yeah, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, and obviously make some music along his side, because we had this right before the pandemic hit. It was he came up with this idea of starting a 3-piece band, and I remember this. He was a little hesitant at first because, you know, he had broken up with his band, and then he just came up with this idea one day. He's like, hey, you know what? Like we should jam out. I'll be on guitar, you be on bass. And then we'll have our homie Stargazer, Daniel, on the drums and do some covers and stuff like that. I was like, yeah. This was like around February, so just before this pandemic hit, and we only got the chance to practice one time at the Eclectic, right there in Boyle Heights, and it was good, bro. Like we had, we clicked right off the bat. Mm, the covers that he chose were like classic rock from CCR and stuff like that, and I've always been a big fan of of that whole era of music, and so we just click right off the bat with the music, and it was like we had been playing for a while, and which really amazed me because it was really our first time playing together as a group or just jamming out, you know. And he really did have hopes of taking this kind of act further, you know. I know he was talking about, yeah, dude, like maybe we could go to what was it, San Antonio or Texas, because he really loved it over there. And he's like, yeah, dude, there's a really good music scene for this type of music that we're playing. And this was like the day of, and he's like, yeah, dude, and he already had these ideas in his head. And but yeah, and then like right after, that's when the pandemic hit. I didn't see him until, what was it, September, a couple weeks prior to his early passing. And but I'm really glad that I got to see him one last time, you know. And I remember that day he gave me a big hug as he was leaving, and yeah, yeah. So that's my last memory of him.
Aside from Sup, we miss you, man, and yeah, we'll try to keep this train trucking, just like you would if one of us were gone, and yeah, you're gonna be missed, man, and we're gonna miss you, and we'll see you. We're gonna see you, so we'll keep making music on our end, keep making jokes on our end, and you just you keep living in our minds. So yeah, we miss you.
You told me this question, and I didn't quite understand it, because, like what do you mean? Is he gonna be here and then leave again, or like or as if just to hear what I gotta say, and then he's gone, like it's gone. That's a tough one. I mean, the only thing I would think to say is that I love you and I cherish my moment with you, and I felt happy. Now I feel happy to know that he had copied me in style, and I just thought I love him. I loved everything about him, even if he annoyed me. Yeah, I mean, just random one time, because he knew that I cuffed my pants at the bottom. He just randomly like, Mike, and he pointed down. I was like, what? I was like, are your shoes? He's like, no, I cuffed my pants. I was just like, that's weird, random. But then I was like, oh, he's copying me. He's trying to get the style, and that makes me happy. It really does. But if he was here, I'd be like, bro, I love you. I love everything you showed me on the guitar. I love my memories, and I'm more happy for the memories now.
I'll just tell him that, like, that I have mad love for him, man. That, him passing really affected a lot of us. That, like, I respected him as an artist, as a person. I love that fool as a friend. Man, I had so many good times with him, and I just feel like, the future good times were cut short, and like, just being here is kind of hard, and talking about it, and just that, like, damn, I get stuck, you know. I would just, I'll just tell him that, like, that he made an impact, and like, even when he said, like, that he was, the Rev is eternal, like, he really is, because he's gonna live on in our memories. And yeah, man, till till we meet it in the next dimension, or on that other side. So love you.
Thank you guys, everybody who recorded and was able to do that, come down and do that and take the time out of their day. It I know it was hard to do, but thank you guys. Anyway, if Rev was here for me, I just want to let him know, first off, I love you, Rev. Love you. Like a brother. Really. And then I want to tell him thank you for everything that he left me with. Everything. I mean, from knowledge to audio recording and just motivation to do things. He used to always, tell me, like, get up, do it. Let's do it. Like, he just push, which is something I needed, because I had this idea of the podcast years before I got together with Rev and sat down and decided, this is what we're going to do. And I didn't have that motivation. I didn't have that push or somebody to give me that like, just light that fire under my ass and fucking get me running, And I don't think I told him enough, or I don't think I told him at all. So if he was here right now, Rev, you're the reason why this podcast is done. You're the reason why, we have all these friends and we did all these, these fun shows with artists and all, all this. It's because of you. And I want to continue to do that. And, you're gone, but you're not gone. You're still here with me. I feel you, I feel that I can continue on because you left me with the tools that I need and the support that I have, from friends and family. Your family has been so great since you've been gone. So much love and support from them, letting me know that they want to see the show continue, and it's going to continue. But thank you, Rev, for everything you've done. I really appreciate that. My family appreciates that. You left such an impact and such an impression on them. They love you so much. Ethan misses you a lot. Ashley misses you so much. If you could only see all the love we have for you, I just wish you could see it. I just hope everyone enjoys everything that we put out, because everything we put out will always be in honor of our friend, our family, our brother, the Rev, Christopher Don. He is never going to be forgotten. He lives on through this show, through his music, through his family and friends. So I just want to make that clear. He will never be truly gone, because he lives on through everyone who's involved with this show, everyone who's known him, and his family. And to that I say, I love you guys. Stay safe. And until next time, see you later.
'Cause it's the midnight special. Shine your light on me, no. It's the midnight special. Shine your loving light on me, no. And if you're going down to Houston, boy, you better act right now. You better not stagger. Oh, you better not fight. Oh, 'cause Sheriff Benson will arrest you and carry you downtown. Oh, and if the jury finds you guilty, your penitentiary bound. Oh, 'cause it's the midnight special. Shine your light on me, no. It's the midnight special. Shine your ever-loving light on me. Oh, oh, and it comes Miss Daisy. How I wonder, did you know? No. Well, I knew about her apron and the dress that she wore. Oh, an umbrella on her shoulder, piece of paper in her hand. She walked straight up to the captain, said, I'm losing my man. Oh, 'cause it's a midnight special. Shine your light on me, no. It's the midnight special. Shine your ever-loving light on me, no. It's the midnight special. Shine your light on me, no. It's the midnight special. Shine your